Everybody, and welcome to the Say Report. This is your host, Sejohn, and my host companion, right beside me, Devon B. Decker.
Oh, hi, Sejohn.
Oh, God.
How are you?
Right away, right in the
We
first
play
minute.
football?
Yeah.
You're tearing me apart, Sejohn.
Oh, God. So I take it that you have some things you want to talk about, Devon?
Yes, I do.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Hi, Sejohn.
No. It's happened,
No,
people. It's happened. It has come out.
I did
Perhaps.
not.
Hey, okay, so the disaster artist. We're talking about the disaster artist because I got some questions.
We're also talking about The Room, which I had not seen. But
Oh,
I, in infinite wisdom, James Franco won Best Actor for The Disaster Artist.
yes.
But
As of this recording at the Golden Globes, he won Best Actor, and he should. And I was just about to ask, how much of this does it qualify for all of last year's awards, or
yeah,
is like the Golden
definitely.
Globes? Okay,
It'll
good,
definitely be an Oscar contender.
good. Okay.
Whether or not it gets nominated, still up in the air, but
Mhm.
it's in contention. It's in the race.
Okay. So yes, so you saw the disaster artist this weekend,
I also saw The Room, and I
and then
feel
you
like you're
saw the.
burying. No, I saw The Room first because he wins the award.
Oh,
He
okay.
wins
Yeah.
the award, and The Disaster Artist was in theater literally for a week in Rhode Island.
Hmm.
So, uh, last Tuesday, Jeff and I tried. We drove to Newport to Island Cinema 10.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. Let's just talk about it. And we tried to see The Disaster Artist because
Hmm.
both of us missed it. And I really had wanted to see The Room beforehand, but like we were going through our phones and we found a place in Rhode Island that was showing the movie,
Hmm.
even though it's like the other side of Rhode Island.
Right.
We're like, whatever. Let's pack a lunch and let's do this. It's like Cheap Tuesday. We go down. We are super excited. Sorry, my throat hurts because doing that. Oh, hi, Sejohn. That's a hard voice. Like Tommy Wiseau and James Franco, you get credit for that voice.
Franco works his ass off.
Yeah.
Wiseau,
So
that's just his voice. He doesn't get credit for that.
I
Just like
think
he
he
doesn't get
does.
credit for
I don't
anything.
know if it's his real voice. But yeah. So we go down to see The Disaster Artist, and it's a disaster. Right? I've been saving that one up. The theater is I don't know if you've been to the Island Cinema 10 in
Not in a
Newport.
long while.
Okay. I'm guessing it's about the same as when you last went there.
And there's a reason I haven't been in a long while.
Yeah.
And it's not just because I moved across the country.
I really, really enjoyed the seating. I will give them credit for the seating. And apparently they're putting in recliners. So I don't know, like 76 seats was how many were in the theater we were in. So I guess with recliners that'll be down to like 20. I like honestly, like
Yeah.
so we're in there and we're excited. But it's the bullshit screen vision front and center playing beforehand, and it
Okay.
sounds off. But that's also a different system. Like that's a completely different projector. It could be running the sound differently. So
Right.
we're gonna be okay with this. We'll be okay. Then the trailers play, and I'm like, this could be a problem. It still sounds like fucking garbage.
Right.
So then the movie starts, and spoilers for The Disaster Artist. This is not even really a spoiler. It starts with talking heads, like people, prominent members of Hollywood discussing the room and like why it means so much. and,
Okay. All right.
and it's
Yes.
like good, like Adam fucking Scott and and Kristen Bell and J.J. Abrams. So quality people.
Right. Exactly.
And then I'm like, oh, okay, this isn't that bad. This is not bad at all. But that's because they're in basically a fucking vacuum, right? Then we get to the first scene, which is in a theater, like like a fucking black box theater. I
Right.
couldn't understand the characters on stage, and that is not because you're not supposed to understand these
Is that
characters
not
on
a comedic
stage.
choice of the movie? Not
No.
a comedic choice of the film?
It's Greg Sestero and Randall Park playing a random scene partner of his, and I'm like, I don't understand what they're saying. And Jeff and I, like, during the trailers, were like, we're gonna do this, right? We want to see this movie. Let's just like swallow our pride. But then like once it's the actual movie, I'm like, I'm out, Jeff. I can't do this. I can't sit through an hour and a half of this. And he's like, yeah, I kind of agree. So we leave, and we're disappointed. We cry ourselves to sleep that night. I cry myself to sleep. I can't speak for Mr. Hibbert.
You got your money back, right?
Oh, yeah, I got my money back. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm not a fool, right? Like,
I didn't know if it was one of those stories. Where,
no.
Okay.
I was just sad because, like, I really wanted to see this movie.
Yeah.
So then Saturday, well, first we get snowed in like crazy, right?
Yeah, crazy. There, you guys all right, by the way?
Yeah, we're fine. We're completely fine. But we had that snow, and we were still dealing with the snow, so like, there's nothing that you can really do. But Saturday it like kind of clears up, so we can go out. So while I'm out, I get a pedicure done because my toes are a mess. And while I'm doing the pedicure, I'm looking for showings of The Room, and I find that it's playing in Hadley, Massachusetts. Okay, not The Room, The Disaster Artist.
So you drove all the way out to Hadley?
Yeah, that's what we. So we got together at 11. The movie played at 4:35. And I know it's only an hour and a half away, right? Because I have that rule. I don't like to travel more than 90 minutes to see a movie. I feel like that's a fair rule to have.
Yeah,
I feel like it's
since
a rule
most movies are shorter
don't...
than 90 minutes,
yeah,
right? I think it's fair to say I don't want to drive further than the movie is. Yeah, that's fine.
It's a good rule. So, I grab Jeff, and we head up there, stop at a Red Robin along the way. That, like, I swear to Christ, we walked into the 90s. The music was so good.
Oh, God. No, then it wasn't the 90s.
Dude, the friggin' people of the world, spice up your life. Every boy and every girl, spice up your life. People of the world. I swear to Christ, I thought that there was going to be a sing-along in the restaurant.
Oh, God.
I thought it was going to be like, who's directing this? La La Land? Like, it was awesome. It was like a really cool moment. And the food was really good. And then we get up there. There is...
You dying? Are
I
you
might
all right?
be dying. I don't know. There is, no word of a lie, a 6-foot-tall Cocapelli statue outside of this mall.
No. Oh, my God, man. I would have ran away.
Dude, I wanted to steal the Cocapelli statue. Because it is advertising for Arizona Pizza Kitchen.
Oh,
because
God.
apparently every state needs their own pizza kitchen. I don't know. Really
no,
good food.
they don't. I wouldn't say they need it, but it seems like every state has one.
Well, and they're not in the state, right? Like, are there California pizza kitchens in California?
Probably not.
Yeah, right. Like,
I wonder if outside of the area, I wonder if there's Ohio pizza kitchens. I just am not aware of.
Yeah, Rhode Island Pizza Kitchen in scenic Anchorage.
You wouldn't want to go to Ohio Pizza Kitchen. It's really bland.
I imagine not. Like, the one thing I've never done in Ohio, and I've done a lot in Ohio, is have pizza. Like, that's not even a joke. That is 100% the truth. In all of my time in Ohio, I've never been like, yo, get a slice.
Yeah, no.
Its reputation precedes it. So we go up to go see The Disaster Artist. It's at a Cinemark theater. I don't know if you've ever been to a Cinemark.
Oh, Cinemark's all we have out here.
Okay, cool. So you guys have the fucking train schedule? Like,
I'm sorry, what?
Okay, so maybe you guys don't. They had like, the only thing I could think of is at, like, train stations where they have the board and they tell you when the trains are boarding.
Yeah.
They had one of those for when the theaters were seating.
Oh, man, no, we do not have anything that nice out here. That sounds awesome.
So we get our tickets, like, we go over to, first of all, we dicked around this mall that, like, would make the Rhode Island Mall look like a fun alternative.
Oh, no.
Dude, like, not even Dirt Mall. Like, I don't even
Dead
know.
Mall.
Like, it was a JCPenney, a Dick's Sporting Goods, and a Target, and inside, just, like, sadness.
Oh, y'all got a Target? Yeah, you're miles ahead of Ohio malls then.
Ohio malls, if my recollection is correct, is like Garden City. You're not even like, you're not covered. You're like, you have to walk outside to get to another store.
The majority of them, yes, but the indoor mall that I even happen to work at is It's as if a dead mall decided to try and come back to life, and the state said no.
No. We have a quota on malls.
Yeah, no, the state's just like, no. We pull the plug on you and you die. That's what happens now. And so, yes, that's the mall I work at.
So we walk around. I go into the Target. I find Okay, here's the deal. Here is a Say Report special, right? It's like a blue light special, but it's from the Say Report. Currently at Target, Emoji Movie figurines are on clearance.
I'm sorry. What? Yes, we need to go get some figurines.
Like, seriously, if you go get these figurines, it was a 5-pack. It was the hacker, Gene, the poo emoji, high five with a glittery Band-Aid, and a translucent yellow smiley. And she's covered. She's like a chase figure. Spoilers, it's Smiley with like a translucent yellow.
Weird.
And the
Weird
poop
and awesome.
emoji, and the poop emoji is covered in felt.
Oh.
It's one of those weird like toys covered in felt. And this is a $25 set.
Why is it
picked up
fuzzy poop?
yesterday for $3.88 at Target.
You paid $3.88 for a hairy turd.
I paid $3.88 for a hairy turd. First of all, it was a gift for Dale. And those are not for me. I'm like, Dale will enjoy this $3.88 gift. Life goes on. And the other thing I found, and it was the last one, and honestly, I didn't know how this was going to get released, and I didn't know what it meant. The 5th season of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on Nickelodeon, they called it Tales of the TMNT, borrowing from the side project that was done during the 1st volume of Mirage and then continued during the 4th volume. So they call it Tales of the TMNT, and this is all the crazy shit. This is all the stuff that's like outside the lines.
I mean, didn't they fight aliens? And okay, so what is the crazy stuff?
So like the crazy stuff is like, well, there's no continuity. Like it feels like there's no continuity. Like for 3 episodes, they go to Usagi Yojimbo's world.
Nice. So is he actually in it?
Oh, he's totally in it.
Oh, like, that's amazing.
And Kitaro, like it's fantastic. So there's those 3 episodes. So here's what happened. They did 4 amazing Monster Hunter episodes for Halloween that like were way better than they had any right to be.
Okay.
And they heavily were influenced by the Boris Karloff Mummy, Frankenstein, the original Dracula. Like they were awesome.
Okay.
And they were not like for kids. Like it's like one of those things where it's like, did you see Coco?
Not yet.
Coco's animated, but I wouldn't call it a kids movie.
Oh.
Like that's totally how I felt about this. And for Halloween, we had all 4 of these episodes on our DVR, and Dale and I sat down and watched them, and we're like, "Oh, that's awesome! I would watch this every Halloween." Like, there's no doubt. Good. Like, I would watch.
Nothing wrong with holiday watching. Got to add that one to the list. So, what is this called all the way? Like,
I'm burying the lead right now, but because I'm trying to get to it. So immediately we looked up for DVD just the Monster Hunter series, and it was released in Europe. All 4 episodes for $20, and we're like, "Oh, that's a lot of money." Right? Like, I don't really want to pay for that. So we kind of like our dreams fell aside. And then they fell further aside when they released Wanted, Bebop, and Rocksteady, which were 3 episodes featuring the classic 80s Shredder and Krang working with the 2012 Bebop and Rocksteady, and an episode called Wolf and Cubs, which was Splinter like caring for toddler turtles being chased by the Foot. And that set, again, 4 episodes at Target was $18.99.
Oh, geez.
So we're like, okay, we're done. Like, we're not going to get these monster thing. This is what they've released. Life goes on. So we're looking through the DVDs yesterday, trying to kill time before the movie, and I see Tales of the TMNT, the final chapters. And I'm like, oh, what's this? I pick it up. It is the 3 Usagi Yojimbo episodes. It is the 4 Monster Hunter episodes. And it is the 3 Mad Max style episodes set in a post-apocalyptic future where a mutagen bomb went off. So like it's the 10 best episodes of the Tales of the TMNT experiment. Because it's stuff that, like, there's no Shredder in these. Like, these are divorced from those characters that existed before. These are the Turtles dealing with cool new threats. How much do you think that cost?
I don't know. From what you were saying, probably a good like $30 or $40 set.
$11.99.
Awesome. That's
Scoop
fantastic.
that right the fuck up. Because
Man, but that's what they always do with this stuff, right? Is like you can go out and get box sets of Harry Potter before the last one comes out, right? Like that kind of nonsense. I can't. That stuff makes me mad.
yeah, I mean, also also good on America for not releasing like the Usagi Yojimbo DVD alone, the Monster DVD alone, and then Mutant Armageddon alone. Like they released it as the final chapters.
Yeah.
And I remember when we saw it, like, because we had like seen rumors of it. Like, I can't believe I own it. Like, I'm holding it in my hand right now. It shows like those pictures, but we thought that meant it was going to be the final episode of the Monster Hunters, the final episode of the Usagi trilogy, and the final episode of Carmageddon. And we were like, because fuck that, because fuck us, right? Like,
right, exactly. Yeah, of course. I mean,
call
here's
it the final
third part of
chapters.
every one of those
Here's the
stories,
third part of every one of these great stories. Yeah, so it's not that. It is awesome. So seriously, the Say Report special is emoji figurines are on super clearance at Target. Like they have like big figures as well that are like $5. But I'm like, I don't want this. I'll buy these figurines for $3. And also, if you can find it and you're a fan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, that is the greatest DVD of the new series.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Awesome.
So there's that. So you have questions about the Disaster Artist?
No, I was wondering what your thoughts were and like what were, because here's the thing. At the end of the day, it is just another James Franco. I don't mean just another, but it is another James Franco Seth Rogen project, right?
Nope.
And I mean, like, okay,
no,
so
not at all.
talk to me.
Not at all. And that's sort of what I was fearful of. That was my greatest fear going into this film. Is that this movie that like looks super interesting and like clearly is a passion project of James Franco's is going to be another fucking Your Highness or This Is the End.
Or The Interview.
I liked The Interview. The Interview is on a different level. And I don't know why.
But it is that same group, right?
But it is
like,
that same group, yes. You're
Okay.
not wrong. But,
Right.
like, those are the ones that I was fearful of. Like, I was fearful of it being like those. I was fearful a little bit of it being like a Knocked Up.
Okay.
But it's not. It is a truly compelling story that, like, deserves all of the award buzz that it is getting and that it has currently earned. Like James Franco won, and he completely deserved that win. Cause like,
Yeah.
I had
Well,
won.
and the reason that I'm curious about this is because, like, I mean, is this the year where we finally do it? Where we finally start talking about comedies being held up, right? Because it is a comedy through and through, isn't it? Or, like...
Yeah, it's more comedic than anything else.
Okay.
But no, the answer is fucking no. Apologies to your mother, but the answer is fucking no. Because even though it got traction at the Golden Globes, very rarely are the Golden Globes the roadmap for the Oscars anymore.
Yeah.
It will get a nomination for Best Picture. I do not doubt that. But that is all it's going to be able to waggle around. It's not getting the statue. And I think
That's a
it's
shame.
only going to get the nomination for Best Picture because of just how much of a fucking void 2017 was cinematically.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I hold out hope every year that they finally do this, that they finally come to their senses and they start talking about, like, all movies that come out and not just ones that came out in the last 2 months, not just ones specifically made by specific people. But I know that that's how the game gets played every year. But I guess I was just kind of hoping with everything that's gone down this year that everybody was going to be kind of looking to the award season to be like, all right, maybe this is when we start opening our eyes a little bit to, like, other things, new things.
All right, let's talk about opening our eyes up. So, Time's Up was a big part of the Golden Globe ceremony. And people are mad that Justin Timberlake supported that which his wife Jessica Biel is a part of. She's a part of that whole group. Like, she's one of the founders of the Time's Up movement. And they're like, he shouldn't get to wear that because he's in a Woody Allen movie. That's not how that works.
Yeah.
Like, that's not how that works. If anything, he should be proud to wear that. Because, yes, I was in a Woody Allen movie, but that doesn't mean dick about where I stand.
Right.
And, like, also, those allegations about Woody Allen have been going on for years and years. Is Emma Stone at fucking fault? Does she not get to stand with the women who've been abused in Hollywood just because she once worked with Woody Allen?
Right.
Like, once
I know,
the
man.
landscape changes, like, you pick your side, and your side is what fucking should matter.
Yeah. You're talking about people looking back on history, and I mean, like, it goes in line with all of that stupid crap Donald Trump Jr. has been throwing at Meryl Streep, trying to talk about how she's a hypocrite because in the past she's tried to talk about, you know, what it was like working with Weinstein and working with other Roman Polanski and all that sort of stuff. And it's just like it's hard to listen to everybody calling out people. Now it's past the point of calling out people doing something wrong. Now it's at this point of calling out people that are just kind of stuck in the system, and like we can't do that. This is what stopped people from coming out before, is they felt like guilty and responsible and part of the problem. And now we're sitting here blaming them. And what it is you're talking about is one step removed from victim blaming. As like, and this is the problem, is we can't go down this slippery slope of like yelling at blaming people for these things. We need to make sure that the blame falls solely on the people that perpetrated these acts.
And I know we don't really fact check. We tried fact checking last episode. It didn't really work out. We don't really fact check on the SAY report. So if there's more to this than what I said, you know, I apologies in advance. But my father mentioned that Justin Timberlake was in hot water because of the thing he did with his wife. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Looked it up, and that was it. Is that he doesn't get to stand on the side of justice because he worked with Woody Allen.
Yeah. I mean, like, if we started telling people that had, like, again, but if we started discounting all the people that have worked with shitty people in this system and said they don't get to choose a side in this fight, we'd lose.
Then the shitty people already win.
Lose
then the shitty people
lose
win.
Everybody. Right, exactly. Yeah. You're totally right.
And that's just what I'm going from. And it's weird. It weirdly ties into the Disaster Artist because I almost saw it the Tuesday before I saw The Room. And then, like, when I had found a way to do it, Sunday morning, I sat down in my chair at 8:30 and watched The Room because I didn't want to not see it before seeing The Disaster Artist. Mm-hmm. And after watching The Disaster Artist, I would never have watched The Room because of how Wiseau is portrayed in that film during the making of that movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that same exact thing.
Yeah, man. Yes. I think you did the right thing by seeing the movie first, because I don't think that The Disaster Artist would have mattered to you nearly as much without seeing The Room and understanding, like, what the final product actually was. Because the stakes of that movie depends so much on knowing that what that final product actually is, because it doesn't. I mean, nothing that Wiseau did on that film set is forgivable, but it makes it even worse when you see what the final product finally was, right? In some weird way, it like drives home what like how bad he really was, knowing what he was actually going through all of that for was for naught.
Well, I think the biggest issue with me and The Room is I watched it wrong, apparently, because I rooted for Johnny like the whole movie. Like, I felt bad for him that Lisa was sleeping around behind his back and that his best friend betrayed him. I'm like, this poor bastard. And I'm like,
I think that it's not wrong to have that thought, but you have to realize that it is Wiseau, like, slanting everything to make Johnny look that way and completely changing, like, the way that people react to things is ridiculous and is not human. So, like, yeah, it's fine that Johnny's been shit on by all of these creatures around him, but those creatures around him are not human beings, and that's the problem, is that Wiseau did not create human beings.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong about that at all.
Right.
It's like, It is. In this world of non creatures, Johnny is clearly not the villain, and his story is tragic. But when you lean that up as a mirror against our world, it just no, that's not.
It doesn't hold up.
It's like, oh, you held up a piece of glass to our world because they're not the fucking same.
Yeah, it's like a funhouse mirror, if anything.
It's not even a funhouse mirror, man. It is not. It reflects nothing. It's like you're holding up a piece of fucking balsa wood, looking for a reflection.
And that is Wiseau in a nutshell, man. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. And I mean, like, I'm super happy I saw it. I do not feel like people are upset that James Franco invited Tommy Wiseau on stage, but then didn't let him talk. No, he did the right thing.
Yeah,
you
no,
can
that's
invite him on stage, and you can thank him, but when he goes to grab the mic, no.
I mean, like, he has to play nice with him because there's no way that this is an easy task of working with this dude and also portraying him as the kind of animal that he is, right? So, like, he has to play this balancing act of, like, being nice to this guy and giving him what he can, but also making sure to protect us from him. So he did the right thing.
Exactly. 100% he did the right thing. And I don't know. And
do you know what would have happened? We would still be listening to the speech that guy would be giving. That would be what was happening. He'd be talking for a day straight.
I don't know. I feel like security would probably step in.
Yeah, he'd figure out some way to, like, stop them and keep talking. Have you seen the room? Nobody stopped him then.
That's a good point. Okay, but can we talk about nobody stopped him then? And this is the thing that, like, I'm really happy I saw the Disaster Artist for. How much about Tommy Wiseau do you know?
Oh, quite a bit, which is why The Disaster Artist is so appealing to me, is because it is actually a story I know quite a bit of.
All right, cool.
Because I got way into Tommy Wiseau, not, like, to support him, but, like, into his weirdness and, like, figuring out how crazy he actually was after first seeing The Room 10 years ago.
Yeah. So my mother watches The Room with me. Because she wants to see The Disaster Artist, and she's like, yeah, we'll do this together. And she's like, every film student should see this movie. Because if this fucking chucklehead can make a movie, anybody can. And I'm like, she's not wrong. She's not wrong. But then The Disaster Artist, the last door, like if it were an advent calendar of information, I like missed where 13 was. And then like The Disaster Artist pointed that out to me. Tommy Wiseau is a fucking genie with unlimited funds? He spent like $6 million of his own money on that movie.
Yeah, that's the thing, is everybody forgets, is they're just like, man, like, this looks so cheap, this looks so, and it's like, no, it actually wasn't cheap. Wiseau was a millionaire before he made that film. And you know what? I venture to guess that he has found a way to finance himself from all of this nonsense. He's probably a millionaire again. So he's probably sitting pretty on at least break it even.
I don't think he lost it. It's turned a profit. Like, big spoilers for The Disaster Artist. Its opening weekend, The Room made $1,800. And it has gone on to turn a profit because of screenings around the country.
I mean, like at the end of the day, this dude, it's weird because it's one of those situations that you run into in the world where it's somebody who doesn't know what they're doing until you realize they know exactly what they're doing.
And that's why he's a disaster artist.
Yeah, oh my God, it's scary actually. Like there are people like that,
and I mean, like, what's scary? What is scary is they're doing the Fathom event, like largest simultaneous showing of The Room in America. Right? Like they're doing it in honor of The Disaster Artist. And it includes a Q&A with Tommy Wiseau and a trailer for his new movie, Best Friends. R and Friends in parentheses.
Wait a minute. Is this not... He had a TV show that never got off the ground. And there's like a pilot opener for that out somewhere.
That's like
this...
Neighbors. I think that's what that's called.
Okay, that's possible.
This is different.
Okay, man, a third project.
Movie.
A third Wiseau project. I'm super excited. Oh, man.
That was the one that, like, I'm like, no fucking way this guy's, like, doing it again.
Lightning can't strike 1,000th time for somebody, can they? Oh my God! This is kind of what makes me hate the world sometimes, because like people like this just get away with it, man. Last week we were calling out Paul Simon. This week I'm calling out Wiseau. That's it. New feature on the show this week. Sejohn calls out.
Yeah, because I
It's our
want Tommy
fault.
Wiseau as
And
our
at the end,
enemy.
and
That
no,
seems like a
because
good plan.
in the end, it's always our fault. It's our fault that these things exist and survive, and I'm not going to let us forget it.
That's true. If you hadn't gone back to the primordial ooze and jizzed in it, there'd be no Tommy Wiseau.
Or Paul Simon.
Yup. We'll call it Sejohn's Jizzing in the Past Files. Because
Oh,
we're
man.
responsible. How
It's
do we have any
2018, the year we went
responsibility
blue.
for these people? Did we?
Devin, you paid money to go see the Disaster Artist, right?
Yeah, I did.
Feeding the beast.
Yeah,
That is
I
what you're
know.
doing.
I'm true. It's true. It's true. I mean, I used Movie Pass, which is its all other slew of issues.
I mean,
But dude,
you're allowing this to happen,
the
Devin. That's what I'm
Cinemark
saying.
Theater's like a train station. You guys don't have that feature? It was
No,
crazy
no.
to me.
No, the Cinemarks out here are sad and small, but of course it's because I'm in the Midwest. So, if it's not too big too big to handle, then it's too small to care. So that's
good.
the way it goes.
You should write a rap song that starts with those lyrics. It's too big to handle, but it's too small to care. Living in the Midwest, hey, I'm here.
Oh, you got there. Points for getting to the end of that. The flow is terrible, though.
Dude, this is a first pass. It would be slow. It'd be like Everlast.
Oh, there you go.
It'd be like that song.
That one song that Everlast did.
He has two. He has "Turn Your Lights On." That's his other one.
Yeah, man.
I
him
love
and
that
Santana.
song. That song's fucking great. Oh, all you sinners, turn your lights on. Turn your lights on.
Oh my god. Oh, I cannot believe this.
Goddamn, if she find that man, she's cutting off his balls. I want to do that. I would like that. If we're like pitching features for the Say Report, I would like to take radio edits of songs and just like, here's the lyric you never heard, because this was one of the songs that you're like, this is good on the radio. Probably not gonna buy this album.
Yeah, no, it's not worth the whole album. But then Napster came along and it saved
that's
us
how
all.
I know. I mean, that's how I know the second fast part of Semi-Charmed Kind of Life.
See, 90s music you would never buy the album to, but you'd listen.
You'd listen. Oh, dude, and it's doing crystal meth will lift you up until you break. It's not doing. It's the video. He covers his mouth. Like, okay.
Because that's where the meth goes, Devin. That's what he's doing. He's putting meth in his mouth.
Meth? All right,
Yeah,
here's a question. While we're talking about this, America, been through the desert, horse with no name. Heroin? Is he doing heroin? Because it's clearly a song about drugs.
Yeah, horse with no name is a definite heroin reference. Damn, nice catch.
Sorry. No, yeah. Well, I mean, okay. Here's what happened. We were listening to Yacht Rock. You opened up all my Yacht Rock memories. We were listening to Yacht Rock in the Jeep, and my father's in the front, and Horse with No Name comes on, and he's like, I like this song. This is a song there ain't nothing wrong with. And my mother's like, it's about drugs, Dennis. This whole song is about doing drugs. And he's like, what? And she's like, the desert turns into the ocean.
He's high. He's high as a fucking kite.
Dennis. And then I'm like, and the horse with no name is heroin. And that was the one they were like, everyone in the car like looked at me like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, horse is another name for heroin? How do you guys not know this?
Yeah, riding through the desert on a horse with no name. He's high as fuck, wandering through the desert.
Because he just
looking for peyote, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Ruined that facade.
Wow, man.
So what have you been up to? I've been in Wiseau World. I really liked The Room, and I'm excited to watch it again, even after seeing The Disaster Artist finale.
So last week I was talking a little bit about Mario vs. Rabbids and saying that I had some thoughts on it, and I wanted to wait a little bit before I got too deep into anything because I was not yet finished. But as of 6 o'clock today, and it is now a scant hour later. I have finished that game, Devon. I finished a game, and I
What's
think
the
it might be the first game
percentage?
that I've
What's the
finished.
percentage?
100% on the story.
Awesome.
I'm at 84% on collectibles and challenges. I got to go back and look at those. I've done a lot of them, like 50% maybe. Um, but yeah, story mission wise, just gone through, did them all, did all the secrets, chapters, all that good stuff. And it is a friggin' blast. And it had perchance one of my favorite moments of 2017 video game wise in it. I did not expect that from this game. I was just looking for something to just be able to dick around with the Switch with more than one player for a while. It was a good holdover until we could figure out, what else we could do with the thing. But it ended up being a fantastic buy. And so, have you played any of it at all, Devin?
No, and I have no desire to because I do
Well,
not like
then,
strategy games.
oh man. Well, there is strategy involved. I guess that's fair, but like it does that Nintendo thing where it takes that style of game and makes it so playable and so much fun.
So it's like
Um,
Advance Wars. Like it looked like
uh,
Advance Wars to me.
yeah, or what's the one that it gets compared to a lot?
XCOM.
XCOM. Yeah, XCOM is the one that it gets compared to nowadays. Yeah, you move units and then they move units and you get to take your shots or do your defense, whatever you got to do. And the conceit is you're playing as Mario, who has surreptitiously met the Rayman Rabbids, who are just fucking up the Mushroom Kingdom, and he has to put everything back together. And like, it's this fantastic little story that allows them to do some really goofy humor with both the Mario world and the Rabbids world. All sorts of dick and fart jokes, just right up my alley, like really funny. And then like really good reveals of characters. So with no desire to play this, I'm just gonna just
Oh yeah, dude.
dive into
Fucking
stuff.
rip it off.
So they do this really cool thing where there's plenty of newly created Rabbids character villains that you go up against that are really cool and fun, but the highlight really starts off as them doing the Rabbid versions of Mario Kingdom characters. So like the very first boss you go up against is a Rabbid Donkey Kong. And so he's this Donkey Kong model, but he's got rabbit ears and he's got the big tie on and all that stuff. And he jumps around the level, throws barrels at you, all that good stuff, and you have to defeat him. So like those kinds of reveals are pretty hilarious throughout the game. At some point, you come up against a rabid Waluigi and Wario duo that are phenomenal and super fun. And of course, the final boss is this like dragon fused with Bowser. It might be the best Bowser fight I've done in a long time because there was actually like strategy involved and thought, and it looked badass because he's this giant like fire dragon Bowser. So that was pretty cool. But the boss battle that I came up against that I think might be my favorite moment in video games from 2017 was actually a completely created character in the haunted. They do a haunted house level
Of course,
because every Mario.
it's Mario.
Yeah, right. And what it is it is a ghost rabbit, but he is an opera singer. And they actually write him an entire song to sing. It is the only time a character speaks in this game. Usually it's all like nonsense words and translation in the yeah, exactly. Like the most you get is "let's go." Like that's the most you get as far as words, right? But this moment comes along where you run into this opera dude and he sings this entire song. And just do yourself a favor and go and look it up on YouTube or something because like it is one of the best moments that I came up against this year. It just blew my mind and was hilarious. It actually manages to be funny and works perfectly with the conceit and all that stuff. And you fight him on a stage and everything. It's this phenomenal little boss fight. And there's even verses between like the turns and stuff like that. It's so good. But it got me thinking because this is not the only time that I've ever come up against this trope. Is like opera and video games there's kind of been opera involved in video games since video games started. Like it's this weird thing. And the first thought I had was Final Fantasy VI. There's a moment in which you have to perform in an opera, isn't there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Jesus, it's awesome. It's like one of the best parts of that game.
Yeah, exactly.
They take Celeste or Celes. I've always called her Celeste.
I think it's
Celes.
Yeah.
Who's like she sort of becomes like the secret main character of that game, which is like my favorite part about her. Is because it's like it's all Terra, and then they introduce Celeste, and I'm like, oh, you're way more interesting than Terra. Oh yeah, they knew that too.
All right. Well, yeah, I mean, it's like They do that a lot in Final Fantasy games. I mean, if you look at Final Fantasy VII, it's when you realize that Tifa is the better female character over Ares, and it's because yeah. So
Speaking of Final Fantasy VII, and then we'll get back to your thing. Someone has to have done a parody of Material Girl, Materia Girl, right?
oh my
Like
god.
that has to exist.
I
Because
mean,
we are
if
living
it
in a
isn't,
materia world, and
the
I'm a
problem
white
is the
materia girl.
the problem is the internet didn't exist when it first came out, so somebody did create that, but they didn't have the means of preserving it, and now nobody else has been around to do it except for us.
I
Devin.
know, right?
We
That's what
are
I'm
here.
asking. That's pretty much why I'm asking. Because I Material Girl came on somewhere in my life, and I heard Materia Girl, and I'm like, I have never even played Final Fantasy VII. Secret confession time.
Oh man.
And this is all I think of when I hear this stupid Madonna song now.
When that
Someone
remake
has to
finally
have
comes
gotten
out,
there.
you play it then.
I kind of want to play
Oh,
the original.
you should play the original.
I don't want to do the remake because apparently there's going to be DLC and fucking chapters, and
Of course.
it's why I can't bring myself to finish Sonic Mania, and I hate this trope
fair.
that came along with the release of Sonic Mania that there is no Sonic 4. Like, what are you talking about? There's no Sonic 4. Because I loved Sonic 4. I'm not ashamed to say that I enjoyed Sonic 4. Is that because it was one of the only games I had while marooned on a cruise ship for 6 months? Probably.
Yeah, that might have a lot to do with it, actually. You were literally in a bubble. Like, you can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Sorry. I don't get it. Like, people are like, there's no Sonic 4. And I'm like, I actually really enjoyed my time with Sonic 4. I like that it, like, picked up from Sonic CD and all this other stuff. And no, we're just going to pretend it's a joke now. It never happened.
Yeah, that's because you're a monster. That's why, Devin.
I'm the monster. I'm
You're
the
the
Tommy
monster.
Wiseau in this situation. Fuck you, Frankenstein. I hear what
Oh,
you
God.
say. I hear everything.
Oh man. So Final Fantasy VI.
So Celeste, there's an opera house that's like Kefka's gonna be at, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the whole thing. It's an assassination mission.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, okay, so we'll replace the lead of this opera with Celeste, right? Celeste can do this. And then on stage, she'll fucking murder Kefka. And that'll be awesome.
Yeah. Yep. I love Final Fantasy games. I really do. The storylines on them are always amazing.
Six was like the last one that I played all the way through.
Mm.
And that's
Yeah, so you end up going on stage and you have to do all sorts of like performing, right? Like you have to do directional inputs and all that sort of stuff in order to do the right thing, make the right choices on characters and all that. There's a lot of really weird involved gameplay.
It's a weird mini game. It's a
and
weird
it goes on
mini game.
it goes on for a good 20 or 30 minutes.
The worst part about it is that you can't win.
Well, right.
That
yeah,
no matter what,
no.
that fucking Squid Ultros is gonna be watching from the catwalk and fall down, and like, oh no, there's a squid now.
Yeah. No, it's
like
there's no getting out of it. Well, it's an
no-
opera. It has to end in tragedy, Devin.
The death of Kefka would be a tragedy for Kefka. He wouldn't be.
But like, what is it about opera that like video games tend to, I don't know, find so much amusement in? Because like it's a really great moment in that. But the other one that I was thinking of, and this is
The
honestly
Great Mighty
like
Pooh. It's the Great Mighty Pooh.
it
Spoilers,
is,
it's the Great Mighty
the
Pooh.
Great Mighty Pooh, man. Like it's one of the greatest moments in video game history. In Conker's Bad Fur Day or Conker Reloaded, which is the one I played, you go up
Oh, the
against a
bullshit one.
giant opera singing pile of shit. It is so good. The bullshit one, yeah.
Well, it's the bullshit one because it's still rated M for mature, but the song that we're talking about by the Great Mighty Pooh is fucking edited.
Yes,
It's like,
that is true.
What?
But it's also rated M for mature because there's still flower tits in it. So I think that there's still
But
things
like,
in that
go
game.
full fucking pickle. You already got the NC-17 rating. Show your fucking dick. I'm just saying.
Oh
Cocker.
man.
Like, and that's the
But
thing.
it's
Yeah. It
Yeah,
opera.
no, it's a fantastic moment in that game, and you come up against this thing singing verses, and again, it's a really good boss battle. There's a piece of me that almost wonders if there's like a little bit of a throwback to that from in Rabbids, because it is exactly that kind of humor, that exact kind of like joke, like look at us doing this highbrow thing in this lowbrow form, but like it was so it hit all the right spots for me when I was playing Rabbids, and I just loved it.
So opera performances that we didn't mention in video games that I'm a fan of. I'm fairly certain when you fight the theater critic in Psychonauts, it is above an opera performance. Like I'm like 90% sure that it's like an opera that he's reviewing because you're in
Yeah.
his head and he'd prefer to do that to theater. I don't know. I haven't played Psychonauts since Psychonauts came out, but the one that like hits me more because it was one of my first experiences with opera being the thing of video game is Legend of the Mystical Ninja starring Goemon
Oh
on
man. Okay.
N64.
Yeah. 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 Okay.
Have you played this game?
No, I have not
Okay,
played
I
it.
own
I
it.
know I can
Gee,
recognize the cover from when I used to go to Blockbuster and it was on the shelf.
yeah. So it's a game I didn't own this game until much later in life. But I rented it all the time. And the reason why I rented it
Okay.
is because there was no save feature. So unless you had a memory pack, you
Right.
couldn't save your game. So I like would play and I'd get like further and further each time until that time that I rented it and finally beat it. And the cool thing about this game is that like what I found out all Mystical Ninja games or Ganbare Goemon games is that because there's also we like I wanted to bring this up because we talked about Japanese games that we played because of emulation. I
Hmm.
completely forgot that like Ganbare Goemon 2, 3, and 4 I played on a Super Nintendo emulator one day because I'm like I didn't know there were more of these games. Gimme, gimme, gimme. And
Right.
like that's sort of where like the the villain is not exactly villainous. Definitely originated in those, but the first
Oh
time we
man.
saw it in an American game was Legend of the Mystical Ninja starring Goemon on N64. And what it turns out is that the people that you have been fighting the whole time, the alien invaders, are a traveling troupe of opera singers and they are trying to prepare the Earth for a fantastic show. And then like you finally get to the like its final boss time, and there is a cutscene that is a 10-minute opera in Japanese, and it's
Oh no.
incredible. It's so incredible
That's
that like
amazing.
okay, so do you remember the first time you got a video game system that only did composite output, like the yellow, white, red?
Okay, yeah, yeah.
I
That would have
do.
been
It
that
was
would
my
have been
N64.
N64, right?
So it ran through a VCR because none of our TVs. I mean, you've been to our house, right? Like the fact I know that I like bragged
I
about
remember that life, man, having to go through other systems in order to get
in
into
order
your
to get it to work.
television.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we went. So it went through the VCR in my parents' room so that I could play this game. So and this whole opera thing plays, and I beat the game, but then like it restarts you right before it, and I'm like, thank God, because I got a tape. It is my tape of all sorts of weird videos, like music stuff. Like it has the
Yes.
Drew Carey all music episode is on this tape. Like Hey Arnold, Mr. Wynn singing that song.
I had a tape just like that. It was all
Yeah,
music videos I was recording off
yeah.
of MTV and VH1 so I had like the Gorillas on there and all sorts of weird shit. Other Side from Red Hot Chili Peppers was definitely on
Dude,
that tape.
See My
Yeah.
Vest from The Simpsons was on this tape. Like this is a
Nice.
good tape. I got that tape and I shoved it in the VCR and I taped the opera because I'm like I want to watch this over and over and over again. Because first of all,
Phenomenal.
what a great twist! What a great
Hmm.
game! And then like the final fight, like it feels like it's just you being part of the performance. Like that's
Yeah.
how they sort of frame it from their perspective, and I'm like, this is fucking crazy.
Yeah,
That was also like the first time I felt like this is a game that is a little bit too adult for me. Like I've played Mortal Kombat, but whatever. Like that's over the top. It's almost like Looney Tunes-esque violence.
right.
Like this is another level of storytelling that
Yeah.
this was not made for kids.
Illusion
Kids
of
can
Gaia
enjoy
was
it.
that for me.
Oh my god. When that fucking pig sacrifices himself? Jesus.
Yeah. But when I played that game way too little, and like I just liked that I could turn into different dudes if I walked up to the statue. Didn't really think about like what I was doing or how I was doing it, and then played it again years later, and I was just like, why was I allowed to play this game as a child?
Because our parents didn't give a fuck, Sejohn. Why was I allowed to play Soul Blazer? Have you ever played Soul Blazer? Do you
Why
know
was I
that
allowed
Soul
to play
Blazer
Leisure Suit
exists?
Larry? Wait,
Yeah,
no.
That's
Soul
different.
Blazer?
Do you know Soul Blazer?
No.
Okay, so it's crazy that you don't know Soul Blazer because you just name-checked Illusion of Gaia. Soul Blazer is the first. Illusion of Gaia is technically a sequel to Soul Blazer.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's part of a trilogy, the third of which is Terranigma, which never
What?
had a release outside of England or Japan.
But there is an English version.
Because there's a PAL version. So you can definitely get it. Terranigma is fucking crazy. Dude.
Guess what I'm getting into?
Dude, you got to start from Soul Blazer because it
Yeah, I'll start.
establishes the whole world that then Illusion of Gaia feeds into. And then what Terranigma is about, I don't even want to tell you. I'm so upset that I never finished Terranigma. I got to the second dungeon. I beat it. This was back when, like, Ali Shearer would call me. Like, it was summer, and she'd call me, and we would have these hour-long conversations that were just great. Like, just really good conversations. But I'd be like, I really wish I were playing Terranigma instead of talking to you, Ali, even though you're a good friend to me. Like, I like your friendship, but Terranigma. And then that computer died, and along with it went my hope of finishing Terranigma.
Well, new 2018 resolution, man. We got to play through some games.
Dude, Soul Blazer, though, is the pinnacle in that series. And if you've played Gaia, I 100% recommend Soul Blazer. And
that's weird because, like, I never felt like... I mean, I always felt like I was missing stuff. Missing is not the right word, though. I always felt like there was more going on in Gaia than, like, I could, like, reconcile. But I just thought that was just the way the game was made. I had no idea that it was the middle of these two games.
Yeah, and I mean, like, and people will argue that, like, they're spiritual successors and that, and I'm like, no, stuff that is established in Soul Blazer as things of the world, like, directly feed into Illusion of Gaia.
Does it play like Illusion of Gaia, or is it a different type of game?
It plays a little bit more like Link to the Past. There's no character
that's not a bad
switching.
move.
No, that's not bad at all. You don't switch into a different form or anything like that. You level up your sword, your shield, and your armor through pickups in the world, and you just travel along the world, and you understand, like, it's so cool. Like, the best way to describe that series is God created man, man killed God, man created, like, what God, in lieu of God, man created.
Oh, man.
So, like, God creating man is what Soul Blazer is. Man killing God is Illusion of Gaia. And man creates is Terranigma.
Cool. Weird. Awesomely weird. My kind of weird.
Yeah, definitely.
Right,
like, that's why I'm like, I always bring up Soul Blazer, because I know it because Scholastic Book Order, I got Secrets of Super Nintendo games.
Nice. I used to get those too. I used to go looking
book.
for cheat codes and passwords.
Exactly. I used to just read those like they were books. And it was this bright pink book that is somewhere in my house, I hope. I hope I still have it. And it had, like, pages and pages dedicated to this game, Soul Blazer, that I'm like, this game sounds awesome, but, like, I'm never going to get to play this game. And then thank God for emulators.
Yeah, man.
Because I almost bought a new in-box copy of Soul Blazer on eBay for $300, and I'm like, no, it's not worth it. I know you love this game.
Very easy ways to have that fun.
Dude, it's not worth it.
It's funny that you mentioned the guide stuff because that's actually kind of the stuff that led me into all of this real like intense video gaming too. Because when I was in seventh grade, the locker next to mine was always just like open, and so people would just like stash stuff in it when they didn't want to go to their own lockers. Because you're 11 years old and you make stupid decisions for stupid reasons, right? So like,
Sometimes you have your actual locker and you keep an N64 in there for after school, and it gets stolen.
yeah.
Like
Well, don't put anything in the open locker because that shit gets stolen
that's gonna
too. I
get
know
stolen too because you
because I
stole it.
found stuff in there and I didn't. And at the time, I didn't think about it as stealing. I was like, oh, this open locker and somebody left this something inside. Oh, that's a shame.
Finders
Well, I guess I'll give it
keepers.
home. Oh, it wasn't even finders keepers. It was just like, well, if nobody wants this, I'll take it. Not thinking clearly somebody wants it. They just put it there. I just thought somebody had, I don't know, tripped, fell, and it flew into the locker. What did I know? I like, right? Like, so I brought home
That's
the
a
Prima
big
guide.
logical fucking jump, Siege.
I was not a bright kid. But I found in the locker next to mine one day the Prima guide to Final Fantasy VII, and I had never heard of Final Fantasy at all at that point, right? And I got home and read that thing back to front, and I knew what it was front to back. Why would I go the wrong
No,
way?
you went the wrong way because it was Japanese. It was
Nice.
manga.
But I knew what it was because I'd had Prima guides from like my Resident Evil games and stuff like that. But like I had no idea what this video game was and was just like blown away by it. And then I found out that the kid next door from me had a copy of it, and so I borrowed it. And I was like, and that's when I discovered it was like 3 discs long. And I was like, what? They make games that are more than 1 disc? And like played through and just in like 4 days or 5 days, I did not leave my room. Just sat there and played on my PlayStation with the guide in hand, and like was just going through and just had so much fun playing that game. And then it's what led me to look for the Final Fantasies, and Final Fantasy VI was the first one I came across that everybody was just like, well, if you like 7, you might as well check this one out. And it was amazing.
Final Fantasy VI was the game I was playing when we met. Because I'm like, I should finally finish this stupid game. Dude,
Yeah, I could see that.
good times. Good times in our lives. Oh, man. Anything else? I feel like we've said a lot. I'm very happy with what we had to say.
Yeah, award season is coming up, and anybody that's been listening for a year now, because we are coming up on a year, knows what we did last year. I think we're going to do that again. Go through and do our Oscar picks and all that good stuff.
Yes,
So,
that's something I have to talk to you about off camera.
but
So
yeah, but anybody
way
that
to
wants
jump on
to
that.
play along at home, no, anybody that wants to play along at home, just saying now, like go out there and find those lists and print them on up, and we'll be talking about those soon.
Yeah, see those movies too, because if you're
Yeah.
informed, you have like a better chance of guessing randomly what will win.
And check out The Room. I
Check
think
out The
that
Room. If you haven't seen The Room, see The Room. It's $10 on Amazon, and it's worth every dollar.
also everybody at home, you're welcome for how many times I got Devon Decker to say The Room this episode.
How many times did I say The Room? And you know what the
Oh,
worst part is? I say room weird, don't I? Like people,
yep.
fucking asshole.
And they're all counting. Everybody at home is taking a drink every time you do.
Secret drinking game.
Hmm.
All right. Well, if you want to tell me the proper pronunciation of room, you can reach me on Twitter at Devon D. Decker.
If you want to talk to me about The Room, you can get me at Siege versus the World.
And like a rhinestone cowboy, here's Will to ride us home.
Thank you for listening to the Say Report with your host Devon Decker and Sejohn Serwick. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for The Say Report, and you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so this is delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.